Islam Dwayne. How you doing? I'm at Whole Foods right now. I'm experiencing a sharp pain in my left arm in Annapolis, Maryland. The fourth sharp pain. I've been experiencing them a lot. You know, we don't know anyone personally here in Annapolis, Maryland. We have not applied. We want to get to know someone personally here in Annapolis, Maryland, but you know we are among a species of creatures, laboratory freaks that are outside of, or unclean spirits, unnatural spirits that are outside of natural law. So they are not naturals, and they're outside of natural law. And so this correlates to most of the United States jurisdiction, all the states being in red in reference to physical health, and physical health is connected to mental health. So when you're among a beast state of mind, an animal state of mind, something that is unnatural, they have the telepathic code, and their status politically is of a beast or animal. So they're beneath us in status. They're on that low level status, that low frequency. This is what you're going to experience because they have no respect for natural law. And if they're not in the constitutional fold, they're not going to have respect for natural law because they themselves are not natural. They're not naturalized. They are of something else that's created for a corporation to use as energy to work. Slaves. And they have no problems being a slave. And so what they try to do is breed them so they can have more slaves. And it is what it is, and that's what's going on. So what I'm about to do as a Hebrew Muslim, a natural divine being, is read the Hebrew law, because it's important for us as natural divine beings to stay in natural law and implement natural law, because this correlates to the earth and the universe. And the earth is made in natural law. It's made of natural spirits, natural energies, and that includes freedom. Okay, unnatural filth, abominations. They don't understand what freedom is because they are slaves. So I'm going to start off with the Hebrew law. It was in the Senate, March the 31st of 1864. I'm Rhonda Arrington-Bey as your wife. It says, so this was in the Senate, and I learned this from Moorish American National Republic. Said he, slavery had existed under some form or other from the first period of recorded history. It dates back even beyond the period of Abraham, the father of the faithful, in whose seed all the nations of the earth were to be blessed. We find that immediately after the flood, the Almighty, for purposes inscrutable to us, condemned a whole race to servitude. And then it has Begmore. I believe is Latin. And he said, curse he Canaan, slave of slaves. He shall be to his brethren. It was continued among all people until the advent of the Christian era. It was recognized in the new dispensation, which was to supersede the old. It has the sanction of God's own apostle. For when Paul sent back Onesimus to Philemon, who did he send? A freeman. No, sir, he sent a doulos. Who did he send? That's what a question mark. Freeman? No, sir, he sent a doulos, a slave, born as such. Not even his Andropodon, who was such by captivity and war. Among all people, and in all ages has the institution, if such it is to be called, existed, and had the countenance of wise and good men, and even of the Christian church itself, until these modern times, up at least to the 19th century. It exists in this country and has existed from the beginning. Okay, so this was Salisbury that was speaking in the Senate March the 31st of 1864 in reference to the Hebrew law, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 18. I could be off, I gotta look it up, but I think it was Deuteronomy in chapter 18. And so Salisbury is actually speaking to Harlem. They're having a debate about the institution of slavery. So now Mr. Harlan, and so Salisbury is defending slavery. He is saying slavery has always existed, and it is something that is needed, in other words. So Harlan is replying to Salisbury. Mr. Harlan replied to the position of Mr. Salisbury that slavery is right, is a divine. So Salisbury is even calling slavery a divine institution. Was very able and interesting. He pled up authority after authority, English as well as American, to show that there is no support of slavery, and especially of the title to services of the adult offspring of a slave, common law, and after also proving by the mouth of a favorite son of Virginia that it has not legal existence by virtue of any municipal or statutory law. He declared that the only remaining law that can be cited for its support is the Levitical Code as follows: both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be on of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. And ye shall take them as an inheritance of your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. Okay, so then it says, I remark, said he, in this connection, that the Levitical Code or the Hebrew law contains a provision. So what's going on now is Harlan is replying. Once again, this is a debate that was in the Senate March the 31st of 1864. So now Harlan, he brings up the Levitical Code because see, Salisbury is calling slavery a divine institution. He is defending slavery, and so what Harlan does is say, okay, so you want to? I'm just bringing it down to my terms of communication. He's saying, okay, so you want to defend slavery, and you're bringing up the Bible. You calling it a divine institution. We're going to go back, and I'm going to show you what is really speaking about in reference to slavery. So Harlan brings up the Levitical Code, the Hebrew law that is spoke about in the Bible. And remember, the Bible, Dwayne Bey, as I'm demonstrating, was made public law on this landmass, public law of October 1862. I think it was October the 4th, October the 4th, I'm saying it wrong. October the 4th, 1984. I think that's right. I could be off. It was October the 4th, 1984, I think. I could be off. I know I think I am. But it was made public law. I'll look it up and see before. So let me continue. Okay. Actually, I think I might have it right here before I continue reading this wonderful debate that was in the Senate, March the 31st of 1864. I might have it. And it's so interesting because these unnatural, unclean spirits, because they are outside of natural law and are not considered to be a part of the constitutional fold, which is natural law, the constitutional organic instrument, like the earth is organic. It's an organic instrument. So they are not in that constitutional fold of natural law because they are unnatural and unclean. And they are the first to say we paid and start to try to rape, molest, and force themselves mentally in your mental space because they are used for that. So I don't have it right now in front of me, but I'm going to continue because these are the times we are in reference to being among those that promote slavery or bondage instead of implementing what is natural and divine. So Harlan remarks, he says, I remarked, said he, in the connection that the Levitical code of the Hebrew law contains a provision of naturalization. So he's saying in the Levitical code there is a provision for naturalization of foreigners, whether captives of war or voluntary immigrants, by compliance with the requirements of the law. They become citizens, entitled to all the rights and privileges and immunities of nature Hebrews. The Hebrew slave code applicable to enslaved Hebrews is in these words: and if thy brother and Hebrew man or Hebrew woman be sold unto thee and serve thee 6 years, 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. So what he's saying is there is a term that they can serve, and then they're supposed to be able to reclaim their freedom and be naturalized. So a form of servitude is not supposed to be forever. It's not supposed to be an infinite term. Then it continues, and Harlan continues to demonstrate. Here I request the intention of those who claim compensation for emancipated slaves to the text. So he's saying, okay, now those who want compensation, for the emancipated, that means to set free. Emancipated means set free, slaves to the text. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock and out of thy floor, which means granaries, and out of the winepress of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And then it continues and says, as he speaks the Hebrew law, he says, it shall not seem hard unto thee when thou set him away free from thee, for he hath been worth a double hired servant to thee in serving the 6 years. The Hebrew statutes provide that the heathen might be purchased and held as slaves, and their posterity after him, that under their naturalization laws naturalization laws, all strangers and sojourners, bond and free, have the privilege of acquiring the rights of citizenship, and that all Hebrews, natives or naturalized, might assert and maintain their right to freedom. Maintain their right to freedom. And at the end of the 6 years, a Hebrew slave that thus demanding his liberty was not to be sent away empty. The owner, so far from for setting him free, was bound to divide with the freedman of his own possession, to give him of his flocks, of his herds, of his granary, and of his winepress, of everything with which the Lord Almighty had blessed the master during the years of his servitude. And then the owner was admonished that he was not to regard it as a hardship to be required to liberate the slave and to divide with him of his sustenance. The Almighty places the liberated slave's claim to a division of the former master's property on the eternal principles of justice. He's saying on the eternal principles of justice. The duty to render an equivalent for an equivalent. The slave, having served 6 years, must be paid for his service, must be paid liberally, because he had been worth even more than a hired servant during the period of his enslavement. So then it continues, it says, if then continued by Harlan, so now Harlan's continue, the justice of this claim cannot be found either in reason, natural, he using the word natural justice, okay? So it's interesting how in 1864 in the Senate they are using these same words that Moorish American National Republic and Moors and non-Moors. Non-Moors are definitely those I guess you would say Anglo-Saxons, other quote unquote European from maybe different parts of Europe or whatever, who kept their nationality, who maintained their nationality, who have been naturalized. Definitely understand these words of naturalization and using these words of natural. So he's saying natural justice, or the principles of the common law, or in any positive municipal or statute regulation of any state. Because we know that pale skin, the word pale skin or white American is not a nationality. Those are terms. Like black or African American, Negro is not a nationality. So let me continue. So, or the principles of the common law, or any positive municipal or statute regulation of any state, or in the Hebrew code written by the finger of God protruded from the flame of fire on the summit of Sinai. I ask, whence the origin of the title to the service of the adult offspring of the slave mother? Or is it not manifest that there is no just title? Okay, I'm going to read that again. So Harlan says, if then, continue Mr. Harlan, the justice of this claim cannot be found either in reason, natural justice, or the principles of the common law, or in any positive municipal or statute regulation of any state, or in the Hebrew code written by the finger of God, protruded from the flame of fire on the summit of Sinai. I ask, whence the origin of the title to the service of the adult offspring of the slave mother? Or is it not manifest that there is no just title? So he's saying, what is the origin of keeping slavery forever? Where did this origin come from? Because he's directing this to natural law. So even in that paragraph, Carlin in 1864, he is demonstrating and bringing awareness that he knows natural law is infinite, and we are in natural law when you are definitely naturalized. The earth is an organic spirit. It's natural. This natural law corresponds and harmonizes with the earth and the universe. So he's saying, so where do you get your information? Where is your origin of having a infinite term of slavery or bondage? Is it not mere usurpation without any known mode of justification under any existing code of laws, human or divine? So he says, is it not a mere usurpation? Usurpation means something that's done without, I might be too loud, something that's done without a legitimate cause. Is you just doing it without any legality, without any just reason. So when you have those that are being used in bondage, their energy, they're raping, molesting, they are working, and they're just actually being used as some form of robot, because they might be, or they're just actually just working like little ants. Like you see the ants on a building, but at least the ant has a cause, has a reason for why they're preparing. But so he's saying, where do you get your origin of slavery being forever? Where did it come from? Because we are among a naturalized, natural spirit, natural law. That's what we are intertwined with. This is natural, the universe, the earth. So where do you get your idea from? And that's it. That's the end of the Hebrew law that was in the Senate March the 31st of 1864.